It is said that asking the right question is a key to success in business. Many times this is true. There is no substitute for solid research before a big business decision. That research often takes the form of interviews between a seeker of business insight and knowledgeable members of the business community. There is a willingness among business people to share their experience. They got where they are with the help of others. As long as it does not compromise confidential information, they are willing to help newcomers. Getting the right information in a business context requires skill. The information seeker must know how to put questions in such a way that the resulting communication is both clear and useful. We will examine the process of informational interviewing in order to outline the requisite skills. Then you will see some role plays that will illustrate the skills. With practice, you will become a skilled interviewer. You will be able to use these interview skills to enhance your business knowledge. These skills will serve you well throughout your business career. Here is your narrator to provide some background on the informational interview.
There are many reasons why people are unwilling to answer your question. In many business situations, there's a need-to-know norm. One must demonstrate his or her need to know before someone will be willing to share information. In other cases, there are concerns about revealing proprietary secrets. While people will not reveal company secrets to outsiders, they may be willing to share information under the right conditions. Sometimes people are very busy and they do not want to take the time to speak with someone who they perceive is trying to pick their brain. While it may not be possible to get all people to speak to you about your business plans, there are methods that make it more likely that you will get the information you need. These methods are aspects of good interviewing skills. An interview is basically a formal question-and-answer conversation. As the interviewee answers your questions, you will get the information you need. It is more than likely that the interviewer and the interviewee do not know each other well or at all. Therefore, the person seeking information, the interviewer, must make appropriate steps to assure that the conversation will produce useful results. While it does not require much time, the first step in an interview is to establish rapport. This is a role both parties play, but the burden of establishing rapport rests with the person who has set up the interview and who is seeking needed information. When the meeting is between strangers, the way to go is small talk. When two people are not acquainted, there's a need to break the ice. Small talk is a way of getting a conversation started without being too intrusive. Some of the basic topics used in generating small talk are quite familiar. The ease or difficulty it took to find the respondent's office or home, the weather at the moment, some recent dramatic event, for example, the results of a championship sporting event, acquaintances you have in common with the respondent. Once rapport has been established, the question-answer process can begin. A successful interview depends on questions being formulated beforehand. Preparation consists of developing questions to be systematically asked during the interview. There are various types of questions that you can ask. The open-ended question and the probe question are the most common types. The open-ended question is considered to be useful in many cases. This type of question gets the interviewee to speak about a particular topic. The interviewer asks the question and then remains silent. The interviewee is expected to respond by saying what they know about the subject. The interviewer listens and takes notes. If the interviewee comes to an end of their comments and the interviewer thinks there is more to learn, a probe question is asked. The probe question aims at a specific point the interviewee has already made. This point was of particular interest to the interviewer. As a response to the probing question, the interviewee may say more on the subject, thus enriching the results of the interview. There are some types of questions it is best to avoid. They may be too confusing and will not produce useful information. A leading question gives a signal about what you expect to hear. Such questions may bias the respondent's reply to you. A loaded question contains inflammatory language and may be a turnoff. Asking more than one question at a time will not be productive. The respondent will not understand the point you want information about. They will not know where to begin in responding to you. The best approach is to ask one question at a time. There are a number of conversation stimulators that also get interviewees to yield more information. The nonverbal techniques of nodding the head and making eye contact are particularly effective. Another approach is to engage the interviewee by clarifying what they are saying. This is done by reflecting back to the interviewee some of the content of their comments. You can reflect the emotional content or the factual content. An emotional reflection conveys to the interviewee that you understand and empathize with their feelings. A factual reflection takes the place of a summary of what you have heard. The process of summarizing lets the interviewee know what you know and what you do not know. The interviewee may then continue with the discussion in order to fill you in completely. If you practice the fact-finding skills suggested here, you will find that the information you will get will be helpful in developing your business plans. Here is your subject matter expert to introduce some role plays that illustrate the informational interview process.
We will see some interviews that illustrate the fact-finding process. First, we will observe the process of developing rapport in an interview context. Then we will see an interview between a questioner and a person who has some useful information about a business the entrepreneur is interested in. This kind of fact-finding is essential in researching a new business. Many people are able and willing to brief a newcomer in the business. They realize that this person may be useful to them in the future, and they are willing to establish a reciprocal relationship. Or perhaps they are just being helpful and seek nothing more than to help a person who is trying to get ahead. Finally, we will see a series of interviews in which conversation stimulators are used. We will observe the use of nonverbal behavior, the use of reflection in stimulating conversation, and the use of summarizing in producing useful information in a fact-finding interview. In the first interview, a business person is visiting a member of a company that is the leading player in the florist industry. The interviewee is an executive in the electronic commerce department. The first step is to develop rapport. The following aspects of developing rapport will be illustrated. Seating arrangement conducive to conversation. Posture of the interviewer indicates interest in the interviewee. Friendly greeting, small talk. Begin interview once rapport is established.